Yeah.
Mr. Kamiya, the floor is yours. The webinar has started.
Thank you. So good afternoon in Vietnam and in Asia. Good morning in Europe, and hello to the rest of the world. My name is Marco Camilla, Chief of the Innovation and Digitalization Division. This is part of the Department of Digitalization, Technology and Innovation at Unido. Welcome to this event on promoting smart manufacturing in ASEAN countries. Smart manufacturing is an untapped regional resource in ASEAN until it became one of the top priorities deliverables under the chairmanship of Vietnam in 2020 through the development of a roadmap and action plan to promote smart manufacturing development in ASEAN. So the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, Unido, works on the fourth industrial revolution applied to manufacturing and has a long-standing cooperation with ASEAN countries in promoting standards and quality. So again, welcome everybody. So before we start, just some housekeeping rules. There are some technical details important for you to know. We have interpretation services available in Vietnamese in the bottom. You can click on interpretation in the Zoom for participants who wish to use the interpretation services. So please click on the Vietnamese now at the bottom of your screen and mute the original language. So the attendees are required to ask their cues in writing at the Q and answer button at the bottom of your screen. So we will select the questions and ask the panelists. If your questions is addressed to a specific panelist, please indicate so. We will try to answer all the questions, but we would like to apologize in advance if we are not able to address your questions due to time constraints. So the session will be recorded, it's being recorded now, and made available to all the participants as soon as possible. So now, so let me start with the opening remarks by Mrs. PG Surida BT PG Haji Sulaiman. She is the chair of ACCSQ. This is ASEAN Consultative Committee on Standards and Quality. She is also acting assistant director of the National Standards Center, Ministry of Finance and Economy at Brunei Darussalam. So, Mr. Suridan, so the floor is yours.
Thank you, Marco. Distinguished speakers, colleagues from ACCSQ and ASEAN member states, distinguished guests and participants, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to all of us, and welcome to the seminar. It is a very great pleasure to address all of you in this important seminar on promoting smart manufacturing in ASEAN, a seminar co-organized by ACCSQ and Unido to advance the ASEAN initiative on the roadmap and the action plans to promote smart manufacturing in ASEAN. I would like to express my appreciation to the immediate past chairs of ACCSQ Vietnam for driving the smart manufacturing initiative into its completions and deliver the roadmap as one of Vietnam's priorities economic deliverables in 2020, and also for the collaborating with Unido on behalf of ACCSQ to organize this seminar. I also would like to send my appreciation to Unido for the support and collaboration with ACCSQ in putting together the concept and agenda of this seminar, as well as providing speakers coming from both Unido and our partner Korea, who will share interesting topics about smart manufacturing in today's event. The ASEAN Economic Community, or AEC, Blueprint 2025, have underscored ASEAN intent to formulate appropriate strategies and approaches on global megatrends and emerging trade-related issues. ASEAN intends to maximize the benefits of regional integration and cooperation by capitalizing on these global megatrends, including the accelerations of digital technology advancement that are increasingly defining international production, trade, services, as well as investment. The region has seen a number of 4IR-related initiatives that has been taking place over the past few years. Among others are the assessments of ASEAN readiness for the 4IR revolution, as well as the signing and ratifications of the ASEAN Agreement on Electronic Commerce and roadmap and action plan to promote smart manufacturing development in ASEAN. These technology developments have transformed the industrial landscape that we have right now. The fourth industrial revolutions, or 4IR, based on the developments of digital technology in which automated production processes are integrated with human beings, their activities and services of enterprises is coined towards the smart manufacturing. The transitions from automated to smart manufacturing based on the cyber physical system platform enable the enterprises to respond quickly to customers' requirements, as well as to increase their flexibilities and competitiveness. The increasing interest in smart manufacturing and the rapid transformations of the production process have proven that smart manufacturing in the inevitable trends of development. This is happening, and its effects to labor and human capital, as well as SME, should be responded accordingly. I would like to share ASEAN responses on human capital and industries as an important sectors that contribute to 4IR or to smart manufacturing space. 4IR and smart manufacturing will need more than simply low production costs. More than simply low production costs. Human capital should be strengthened and ready in meeting the opportunities and challenges posed by the ongoing technological and demographic transformations of our societies, coupled with the unprecedented situation brought by the COVID-19 pandemic. On human capital, we recognize the needs to equip human resources with relevant competencies to prepare them to be the future ready. One of the strategic thrusts of SECSQ is to support the capacities building and human capital development for the implementations of the ASEAN initiative and policy that are related to structure. On the other hand, SMEs at large are still adopting basic digital technologies, especially in adopting complex digital technologies and practices. MSMEs' adoptions to digital technologies is hindered by various factors ranging from connectivity, regulatory framework, lack of awareness, and also lack of available technologies and solution, and more or less is in terms of the lack of skill. To mitigate this, particularly in the areas of standard, technical regulation and conformity assessment procedures, the SECSQ will support to strengthen private sector's participations in standards and conformity assessment to accelerate the developments and enhance the availabilities of services to industries and to the businesses. In response to the COVID-19 pandemic, the adoptions of the ASEAN Comprehensive Recovery Framework, or this ACRF, and its implementation plans articulated that the broad strategies of ASEAN through the stages of the post-pandemic recovery. Among others, the strategies include strengthening of human securities, advancing towards a more sustainable and resilient future, and accelerating inclusive digital transformation while promoting the adoptions of digital technologies in ASEAN businesses. The overall implementation rates of the recovery program is very encouraging, which shows ASEAN's strong resilience in facing this challenging time. Technology, labor, and industry work in hand in the rapidly changing industrial landscape. We hope this seminar would strengthen our awareness on this new technology development in the industry as we embark in promoting smart manufacturing development within and outside ASEAN. As the chair of ACCSQ, I am delighted to having such an important event as the manifestations of ACCSQ commitment to furthering its program and projects, especially on a new and important initiative on smart manufacturing. In closing, I encourage everyone to make the most of the seminar as we hear from our distinguished speakers and learn about enhancing productivity, rapid technologies, innovation, and upskills workforce, learning experience from the other industries on smart manufacturing, and the importance of these policies in supporting the smart manufacturing. Thank you once again to Unido for engaging ACCSQ on this project. It is our privilege to partner with you, and we look forward to more collaborations in the future. Thank you, everyone, for your kind attention. Thank you, Marco, for actually becoming the MCs for this afternoon. I'll give the floor back to you. Thank you so much.
Mrs. Surida, many thanks for your kind and useful words and for the message from ACCSQ on smart manufacturing and also highlighting the role of standards and norms. So now the second opening remarks by Dr. Bernardo Calzadilla Sarmiento, Managing Director of the Directorate of Digitalization, Technology and Agribusiness, Department of Digitalization, Technology and Innovation at Unido.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor to open this webinar on promoting smart manufacturing in ASEAN, organized by Unido and the ASEAN Consultative Committee on Standards and Quality, ACCSQ. Unido and ACCSQ have a long track record of cooperation together to leverage standards and quality management to promote inclusive and sustainable industrial development among ASEAN member states. A successful example of this collaboration was the ASEAN-Japan Unido Standardization and Total Quality Management project. At the time, this project was to promote the productivity and competitiveness of SMEs in international trade to implementation of TQM practices. Unido was implementing the project, and then ACCSQ played a very pivotal role in coordinating all the project activities. TQM project provided ASEAN countries with the tools and methodologies promoting company standardization, and 19 ASEAN companies were given tailored guidance on how total quality management could promote business efficiencies as well as enable technology transfer activities. The success of the project was evidenced by the increases in revenues, reduction of complaints, higher ratio of sales to number of employees at company level. All these experiences were converted into 19 individual TQM handbooks that were made publicly available to all ASEAN stakeholders. The lessons learned from this project were instrumental in the development of the Quality Management e-learning course that is available on the Unido Knowledge Hub. Please visit it. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the theme of this webinar continues to bring us the path of productivity and is timely given the ongoing fight against COVID-19. The severe and economic and social consequences of this pandemic has largely been felt in the developing world and impacting largely also in ASEAN states. Yet COVID-19 has become an unforeseen accelerator for digital transformation. There is a unique window for ASEAN to leverage this current situation and catalyze efforts to transition to a new industrial paradigm. The fourth industrial revolution is characterized by the convergence and complementarity of emerging technology domains such as nanotechnology, biotechnology, with advanced digital production technologies. The latter encompasses, among others, 3D printing, big data, artificial intelligence, industrial Internet of Things, which are transforming the global industrial landscape. The defining characteristics of these 4IR technologies is the novel way in which machines leverage the strong interconnectivity between hardware and software to blur the lines between physical and virtual dimensions of production, leading to potential exponential growth. This has led to the emergence of smart factory and manufacturing, which leverage data collection and analysis to promote real-time adjustment and optimization of different manufacturing processes. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, according to the 2020 Smart Manufacturing Roadmap prepared by ACCQ, the contribution of industry to the total GDP was 36% in 2019, which is a decrease from 39.7% in 2005. However, there is strong recognition that manufacturing products constitute a major share of both total exports and import in most ASEAN member states, ranging from 95% in Cambodia and 75.8% in Malaysia. Smart manufacturing application and digitalization of the manufacturing sector could offer various benefits to industrial stakeholders, including improved productivity through data-enabled versatility, adaptability and flexibility, innovation and higher quality products through investment and customization, more manufacturing jobs, especially for young people and our future generations, energy efficiency through reducing carbon footprint and industrial waste, the introduction of the smart factory and smart manufacturing among the ASEAN will positively contribute to inclusive and sustainable industrial development, while simultaneously offering ASEAN member states an opportunity to increase the contribution of industry to the total GDP in the future. I wish to emphasize that Unido is uniquely placed to leverage its technical cooperation on policy development, standardization, and transfer of technology to assist the ASEAN community in promoting smart manufacturing and thereby contribute to the collective 4IR transition efforts. I wish to draw your attention to the fourth Industrial Revolution Regional Conference that is being organized by Unido and the Ministry of Industry of Indonesia during November 2021 under the auspices of their G20 presidency. I would strongly encourage you all to attend and actively participate in this event to gain further insights on the implications of 4IR and smart manufacturing in the ASEAN region. I look forward to reviewing the outcomes and action items from this webinar. I wish you all fruitful deliberation. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Dr. Bernardo Calzadilla Sarmiento, Managing Director of the Directorate of Digitalization, Technology and Agribusiness. So now we will move to the panel. We have stellar panel. Ms. Buti Tukuyem from the International Cooperation Department, Directorate for Standards, Metrology and Quality, Vietnam. We have Mr. Oh Kyun Jung, expert member of the Korean Standard Association. We have Ms. Hai Xin Xie, Deputy General Manager of Higher Cosmoplat IoT Ecological Technology. And we have Farud Alinjanov, Industrial Development Officer, Innovation and Digitalization Division, Department of Digitalization Technology and Innovation at Unido. I just want to remind the audience to post your questions in the Q&A box So we will compile the questions and address to the speakers. So let me just start with the first presentation. So Ms. Butik Tukuyen, Acting Director, International Cooperation Department, Directorate for Standards, Metrology and Quality, Vietnam. And his presentation will be on the roadmap to promote smart manufacturing in ASEAN countries. Please, Ms. Butik, the floor is yours. You are mute.
Yes, thank you very much, Marco, for reminding me. And this is, I would like to share the screen. And so now you can see the screen.
Yes. You can make it larger.
Yes. Okay. So it's better now. Yes. Yeah. Thank you very much for introducing me. And it is distinguished speakers and guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great pleasure to be the panelist, one of the panelists for the webinar today on promoting smart manufacturing in ASEAN. And the webinar is one of the meaningful events amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. The private sector, you see, business and enterprises are facing many difficulties, but they're also having the opportunity to reorganize and develop the strategy for the future. And leveraging the science and technology of the Industrial Revolution 4.0 to recover quickly after the pandemic. And the smart factory or smarter factory will change the traditional production system into a connected system with continuously collected business data, so that the system can learn and adapt to the changeable demands of the market. As a result, it leads to the more efficient and flexible operation, reduced downtime and predictability and adaptability. So my presentation today is I would like to introduce the roadmap and action plan to promote the smart manufacturing in ASEAN. Dr. Bernardo already introduced some very important point about the manufacturing in ASEAN, the role of the industry and manufacturing among the three other main sectors like agriculture and services. Industries contribute to the GDP of ASEAN, and about more than 1/3 of the total ASEAN GDP in 2019. And it also contributes to the total development in many countries in ASEAN. 1/3% of the total employment, such as in Brunei Darussalam, Malaysia, and in Vietnam. And we see that the smart manufacturing transformation hold the key to the labor productivity. And the trend of the smart manufacturing is inevitable. It's available in Germany, in many European countries, in United States, and in Asia, some countries like Japan and Korea. And I am very delighted and happy to see the representative from Korea. With the voice from Korea, the panelists from Korea will share the experience as well for this today seminar. And while the trend is inevitable, and so together with these trends, the policies in some ASEAN countries on smart manufacturing are available as well. Like you can see the Making Indonesia 4.0. In Malaysia, that is Industry for WRD, or this is the national policy on the adoption of the Industry 4.0. And in Myanmar, in the SME policy in 2015, the program is also intended to use the automated machine to become the merchandise farming and merchandise workplace for the smart manufacturing program. Or in the Philippines, with the Philippine Inclusive Innovation Industrial Strategy, or Thailand 4.0, and Singapore is is the Industry Transformation Program, and many others tools and to support the enterprises in Singapore. And in Thailand, we also and in Vietnam, and we also have many programs provided, approved by the Prime Minister to support business to improve the productivity and quality of the products and goods until the 2030, and including the smart manufacturing. So acknowledging the trend and necessity of the promoting smart manufacturing in ASEAN, and initiated by Vietnam in the ASEAN Chairmanship year 2020, and then approved by the ASEAN leaders, ACCSQ, in collaboration with other sectoral bodies of ASEAN, like ASEAN Coordinating Committee on Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, and the Committee on Science, Technology and Innovation, COSTI. And we was in partnership with the ASEAN Productivity Organization, APO. We developed the ASEAN Roadmap and Action Plan to promote smart manufacturing development, starting from March 2020 until January 2021. The roadmap was completed and endorsed by SEAN until then. But why? We see that why ASEAN also choose the standards as a very important in this roadmap. And you see the standards has long become like the common language among the nations, the different nations of different companies, and even the common language for human and machines in the new era. And standards are very, very important and facilitate the communication between the stakeholders and improve the manufacturing agility, as well as the reducing manufacturing costs. The standards on smart manufacturing now are being developed by the international organizations such as ISO and IEC, and by the many others, by many standards development organizations in the world. And in ASEAN, it was discussed by the study group led by the Philippines under the working group 1 of ACCSQ, that is a working group on standards. You can see the further, very in details, the roadmap and action plan on the link provided together with my presentation, and I will provide it to the chat box so that you can download from the internet. And as I introduced before, the roadmap was endorsed by the ASEAN in January 2021. And in this, what is the important or the key recommendation of this roadmap and action plan? I must list here the 5 key recommendations. The first relating to the awareness raising, the second relating to the research and the pilot program, the third is standard harmonization and development, and the fourth cooperation, and capacity building. And lastly, is the strategy at the enterprise and the national level. So in order to with these 5 very key recommendations, we would like to promote the awareness of the stakeholders, especially enterprises in ASEAN, about smart manufacturing. And this webinar is the first activity, and we really thanks to Unido for supporting us and together with us with ACCSQ to promote the awareness about the smart manufacturing. And through the activities could be the sharing case study, demonstration, and showcase on the production and digital technology application, or the sharing the best practice on smart manufacturing, application of smart manufacturing, or encourage the business to apply the smart manufacturing technology and solution in their business and manufacturing. And for the recommendation relating to the research and pilot program, it involves many researchers as well as the enterprises on the smart manufacturing. And firstly, we think that the manufacturing readiness, smart manufacturing readiness assessment is very important for the enterprises to identify where they are in smart manufacturing, and the solution, what are appropriate solution for smart manufacturing that they can apply. And there are some tools for assessing the readiness to smart manufacturing which are now available. For example, the Smart Industry Readiness Index of Singapore, we're calling the SIRI, or VIPA, that is the assessing of the readiness for Industry 4.0 in Vietnam, and some other tools maybe will be developed in the future. However, we can make use of the available tools. The enterprises can make use of them in order to assess the current system. And for the standard harmonization and development, that is the core work of ACCSQ. And we look forward to harmonize the standards, national standards, with the international standards. So we harmonize the national standards of ASEAN with the international standards in order to avoid the duplication. However, we also need to identify the sectors or areas we are appropriate for ASEAN to harmonize. And so we also encourage the member states in ASEAN to participate in the development of the international standard on smart manufacturing where relevant. Up to now, the ISO, IEC technical committees are available. For example, the TC 184 of ISO. And so we also see that some technical committees on some sub areas like additive manufacturing, smart sensor, smart automation, blockchain, big data, cybersecurity, data privacy are very important at this time. And for the cooperation and capacity building, and we would, in the roadmap, we look forward to the fostering the cooperation and capacity building among ASEAN member states with collaboration with dialogue partners and ASEAN sectoral bodies in the areas of smart manufacturing, including IR 4.0. And the strategy at the enterprises and at the national level is very important. Strategy at the national level, we expect the Korea can share the experience in this webinar. And for the strategy at the enterprises level, And so it's also our expectation today webinar when we, if we hear the very best practice from the company. So this is a very, very useful seminar and interesting with many interesting topics. So I would like to share with you the information that is not like a coincidence that last week the ISO TC 184 SC, the subcommittee 4 on industrial data, was the winners of the Lawrence Aisha Award. The award is, this award is presented by the ISO president every year during the General Assembly of ISO for great contribution. And this subcommittee has developed about 800 standards covering from energy, product life cycle development, and digital manufacturing technology, helping us to innovate and enjoy life, which are easier, safer, and better. And so I think that all these things links together. The roadmap and on an action plan on promoting in ASEAN, and also in ISO when the industrial data and the standards in this developed by this TC SC is very, very highlight. And in the future, we look forward the implementation of the roadmap and action plan by ACCSQ together with the partners of ACCSQ, like ISO, IEC, Unido, and the partners and Korea, as well as other sectoral bodies. And we also look forward the member state will promote in their country based on their priorities on smart manufacturing, and further activities will be carried out. And so we will make a very comprehensive, like an echo these activities in every nations in ASEAN and together with the trend of the world. And so in very short time, and so I would like to introduce about the roadmap, and I hope to share with you further information in the Q&A section. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Butitu Kuyem, for interesting presentation. We have a question in the chat that maybe can be answered by you or by the other members of the panel as well. Do you think that the small and medium enterprise investment in digital technologies should be subsidized by the government?
So I will answer or now or relating to the Q&A section.
As you prefer.
Okay. Yes. Thank you very much for the question. I think it is the most common questions raised by the enterprises and private sectors. It's maybe in the following presentation from Korea, you will see that there's a link between the support of the government and the enterprises. Of course, for the enterprises, they need to the strategy. They have to set up like a strategy on smart manufacturing to for their enterprises and to become smarter. However, with the support of the government, there will be like a with the ecosystem, including the policy, enterprises, the bank, and the smart manufacturing solution, and the other together. And so, so it's all things willing together will help the enterprises. The support from the policy, from the government is necessary. And the subsidized is it depends on the, so it depends on the each government in the different nations when they have the national strategy on smart manufacturing. I think in the following presentation, you will see further.
Thank you very much. So now we have Mr. Oh Kyun-jung, expert member of the Korean Standard Association. So his presentation will be on policy to support enterprises on smart manufacturing. So Mr. Oh, please, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon. 시간 관계상 통역을 통해서 진행을 하겠습니다.
To save our time, I will offer the consecutive interpretation in English.
인류에게 갑자기 닥친 코로나 팬데믹이 불안과 재앙이 아닌 새로운 기회와 희망이 되기를 진심으로 바랍니다.
The unexpected COVID-19 put the mankind under endless anxiety and stress, but I wish we could find new opportunity and hope amid the crisis.
오늘 발표를 맡게 된 한국표준협회의 스마트 제조 전문 컨설턴트로 활동하고 있는 오경준이라 합니다.
My name is Kyung-jun Oh, and I am working as a smart manufacturing consultant in the Korean Standards Association.
준비된 내용을 발표하기 전에 한 말씀 드립니다.
Beginning my presentation, there's one thing to stress.
기업의 존재 이유는 이익의 창출입니다.
Enterprises exist to make profits.
특히 제조기업은 물질의 변형과 유통을 통해 부가가치를 만들어내는 조직을 말합니다.
Manufacturing businesses are organizations who create values by changing forms of material and selling them.
급격한 경영 환경 변화에 이익을 창출하여 살아남기 위한 다양한 방식 중 하나로 등장한 것이 스마트 제조입니다.
Smart manufacturing appeared as one of diverse ways for businesses to survive and make profits in a rapidly changing business environment.
스마트 제조는 목적이 아닌 수단이라는 점을 강조하고 싶습니다.
I'm saying this to stress that smart manufacturing is a means, not the end.
스마트 제조 시스템 구축을 통해 생산성 향상, 품질 향상, 원가 절감, 리드 타임 단축 등의 표층 경쟁력을 강화하고자 하는 수단입니다.
It is a means to strengthen the outer competitiveness by enhancing productivity and quality, and by cutting the cost and lead time through smart manufacturing system.
이 스마트 제조 시스템은 다양한 자동화 기계와 정보 기술의 결합으로 단순하게 이해하기보다는 스마트한 생각을 갖고 스마트한 프로세스로 일하는 환경을 구축하는 것이 선행되어야 한다는 점을 강조하고 싶습니다.
Smart manufacturing system is not a simple combination of automation facility and internet technology or information technology. It requires smart idea, smart process, and supporting environment.
이 스마트 아이디어와 스마트 프로세스가 제조기업의 힘층 경쟁력입니다.
This smart process and smart idea, these are the core of competitiveness of smart businesses.
서론이 길었습니다. 오늘 준비한 내용을 발표하겠습니다.
It was a rather lengthy comment as a beginning, and let me move on to my presentation.
오늘 주제는 한국 스마트 제조 시스템 구축의 현재와 미래입니다.
Today, I'm going to talk about the present and future of smart manufacturing system in Korea.
왜 안 넘어가지? 한 칸 더. 먼저 스마트 제조의 개념과 주요 국가의 대응입니다.
First, concept of smart manufacturing and response by major countries.
앞서 말씀드렸듯이 4차 산업혁명 시대의 적극적 대응의 형태로 등장한 스마트 제조를 명쾌하게 정의하기는 어렵습니다.
As I said before, smart manufacturing appeared as one of a way to respond to the fourth industrial revolution, but it is hard to define it in one word.
1차, 2차, 3차 산업혁명은 시간이 지난 후 붙여졌지만 4차 산업혁명은 정의해놓고 만들어가는 특징이 있다고 생각합니다.
The first, second, and the third industrial revolution got their names after they appeared, but for the fourth industrial revolution, or 4IR, it got its name first, and people tried to define it.
왜일까요? 여러분도 한번 고민해 보십시오.
Why? Probably we need to think of the reason.
한 가지 힌트를 드리겠습니다.
There's one hint.
3차 산업혁명에서 중요한 것이 프로덕션 오토메이션입니다.
In the third industrial revolution, the focus was on the production automation.
4차 산업혁명에서 강조하는 것은 autonomous production입니다.
In the fourth industrial revolution, the focus is on autonomous production.
이 차이점을 깊게 생각해 보셨으면 합니다.
And we need to think of the difference between the production automation and autonomous production.
단순하게 말하면 연결성의 강화가 특징이라고 말할 수 있습니다.
To put it simply, the difference between these two can be defined as the connectivity.
이는 다양한 고객 요구의 대응, 한계에 부딪힌 원가 절감 등의 대응 등의 제조기업 역량을 강화하기 위한 수단으로 이해하셔도 됩니다.
And this can be understood as a means by manufacturing businesses to meet the diverse customer needs and also to boost their effort for cost saving.
특히 최근에 유행하고 있는 스마트라는 단어에 관심을 가졌으면 합니다.
And here we are talking about everything smart, like smart manufacturing, smart businesses, and smart. So smart has become a buzzword.
어떠한 상태를 스마트라고 부를까요? 이 단어에 비밀의 열쇠가 있다고 봅니다.
When can we use the word smart for something? I believe the word smart has a secret key.
이것도 오늘 참석한 여러분에게 숙제로 드리고 싶습니다.
And I can give you a homework to think of the true meaning or the precise meaning of word smart here.
글로벌 제조 경쟁력의 선도 국가인 미국, 독일, 중국, 일본은 국가 전략 아젠다로 설정하여 다양한 노력을 하고 있으며 각국이 집중하는 것은 다소 다를지 모르나 이는 보이지 않는 또 다른 전쟁이 치열하게 진행 중이라고 봅니다.
Global manufacturing powerhouses like the US, Germany, China, and Japan select smart manufacturing as national agenda and make multifaceted efforts. Each country may differ in their focus, but I believe invisible war is already on in this field.
다만 이를 추진하는 형태가 부분 기술의 스마트화를 넘어 산업 간, 기술 간, 산업 기술 간의 융합과 복합이 특징이라고 생각합니다.
But there's one thing in common. Every country is focused on the convergence across industry and across technology. So they are not working on the smartification of independent technology.
이는 4차 산업혁명에 추구하는 대표적인 특징이라고 볼 수 있습니다.
And this is something unique to the 4IR.
2020년 글로벌 제조 경쟁력의 랭킹이 이들 4개 나라가 1, 2, 3, 4등입니다.
And these four countries are ranked as the first, second, third to fourth in the 2020 Manufacturing Competitiveness Index.
이들 나라가 4차 산업혁명을 선도해 가고 있습니다.
And these four are leading the 4IR.
그것이 굉장히 중요한 포인트입니다.
And that's something we need to take note.
다음은 한국의 스마트 제조의 현 상황입니다.
And then what the Korea is doing to respond to this smart manufacturing.
글로벌 제조 경쟁력 선도 죄송합니다. 이러한 글로벌 이슈에 제조 산업 의존도가 높은 한국도 2017년 국가 차원의 과제를 설정하여 4개 영역의 13개 세분화된 과제로 구분하여 초기 부목과 실질적 보급 사업을 전개하고 있습니다.
As Korea also heavily depends on manufacturing industry, so the government set up the national agenda in 2017 for smart manufacturing with 13 projects in 4 areas.
초기 단순 스마트 솔루션 보급 사업에서 스마트 수준 평가 이후 기본 역량 강화, 맞춤형 지원으로 가속화할 수 있었습니다.
The government-led smart manufacturing project started with supplying simple IT solution, but further developed to include smartification level assessment, capability reinforcement, and customized support for smart factory construction.
이 결과 2021년 3만 개 이상의 스마트 공장 구축 사업을 조기 달성하고 5만 개까지 확장하여 목표를 가지고 진행하고 있습니다.
Thanks to the initial efforts by the government, we completed the target of 30,000 smart factory building in advance and raised the target number to 50,000.
이와 같은 스마트 제조 공장의 보급을 정부 차원에서 적극적으로 지원하고 있습니다.
And as I said before, and I am stressing once again, the Korean government is actually leading this smart factory building project.
추진 과정에서의 성공과 실패 사례를 리뷰하고 보완하여 지속적으로 진행하고 있습니다만 세부적인 내용은 배포된 자료를 참조하시기 바랍니다.
Throughout the project, success stories and failure cases are collected for best practices. And for more details can be found in the handout.
한국은 스마트 제조 보급 및 확산을 위해 다양한 영역의 표준 제정이 중요하다고 판단하여 2016년 먼저 기본 개념 및 용어, 운영 방식의 표준, 이를 KSX 9001로 제정하여 활용하고 있으며
To facilitate smart manufacturing, the Korean government paid attention to the importance of standards. In 2016, it developed KSX 9001 on the concept, structure, terminology, and operation system standards.
올해 2021년 이를 성장시켜 국가기술표준원에서 스마트 제조 활용 솔루션의 데이터 표준 KSX 9101을 제정하여 활용할 예정입니다.
This year in 2021, the Korean Agency for Technology and Standards would come up with the data standards for smart manufacturing solution KSX 9101.
향후 필요하다면 이것도 정보를 공유하도록 하겠습니다.
And I can happily share this KSX 9001 or 9101 with the ASEAN member countries if you need it.
앞서 말씀드린 KSX 9001의 내용 중 용어에 관련된 것이 이와 같이 정리가 되어 있습니다.
The screen shows some of the terminologies and their definitions in KSX 9001.
예를 들면 스마트 팩토리즈, 스마트 매뉴팩처링이즈, 디지털 팩토리즈 등등등의 다양한 용어들을 정의하고 있습니다.
So to make our understanding clear, these smart factory standards offer clear definition of what smart factory is, smart manufacturing is, and digital factory is.
KSX 9001의 핵심은 스마트 제조를 구축을 희망하는 기업을 대상으로 스마트 공장 수준을 평가하는 방식을 표준화했다는 것입니다.
One of the core part of KSX 9001 is the standardized evaluation process for smart factories.
이는 4개의 영역, 예를 들어 추진 전략, 프로세스, 정보 시스템과 자동화, 성과 관리의 44개 세부 영역을 1000점 만점으로 평가하여
The standardized evaluation process offer 44 specific areas in 4 main areas, such as strategies, process, IT system and automation, and performance management, with the total score of 1000.
이를 점수에 따라 0 수준에서 5 수준으로 구분하여 각기 다른 맞춤형 방식의 지원을 하고 있습니다.
Each specific checking item can offer 0 to 5 points in scores, and depending on the total scores one factory gets, they can be supported by the government.
이와 관련한 짧은 동영상을 한 편 보시겠습니다.
They can be supported by the government in a customized manner, and I prepared a short movie clip to help you understand this further.
자동차 연료 펌프 모듈을 제작하는 전문기업 서비스입니다. (2014년) 스마트 공장 도입을 시작으로 2019년 저희가 직접 구축한 스마트 공장이 어느 정도 수도 있게 확인받고 보도와 가이드라인 제시나 등 스마트 공장 수준 확인 1호 기업으로 선정되었습니다.
저희가 제작 생산한 부품은 미크론 단위의 정밀하고 복잡한 과정이 많습니다. 그래서 안전한 근무 환경을 위해 또 높아지는 고객 유무 수준을 위해 그리고 한 발 앞선 미래를 위해 스마트 공장 도입을 결정하게 되었습니다.
스마트 공장 도입 후 분리 전선을 받는 기본 작업부터 마지막까지 모두 자동화 시스템에서 관리합니다. 10.5초마다 쉬지 않고 생산되는 제품을 작업자는 감달기, PDA를 통해 현재 생산 현황을 실시간으로 확인할 수 있습니다. 거기다 설비에 문제가 발생할 때는 스마트폰으로 문자 메시지가 자동으로 발송됩니다.
자동화 생산 시스템을 갖춘 스마트 공장을 도입하면서 글로벌 기업과 거래하는 데 큰 도움이 되었습니다. 재고 금액과 물량 인력 등이 줄었죠. 매출액도 2022년도에는 18년보다 2배 이상 늘 것으로 예상합니다.
수준 확인 제도를 통해 우리가 구축한 스마트 공장 수준을 알게 되니 어디가 부족한지 어떤 부분에 집중해야 할지 알 수 있어 사업 방향이 더 명확해졌습니다. 더욱더 일하기 편한 환경을 만들기 위해 지속적으로 스마트 공장을 보도할 예정입니다. 스마트 공장, 제조 혁신으로 사람 중심의 첨단 시대를 열고자 합니다. 자동차 연료 포크
또한 국가 스마트 제조 추진단을 조직하여 각 지역별 보급 및 확산을 체계적으로 지원하고 있습니다.
The government also set up a smart manufacturing task force for more systematic support in each province.
마지막으로 한국 스마트 제조의 미래입니다.
Now, the future of the smart manufacturing of Korea.
한국은 향후 스마트 제조 관련 국가 표준의 세분화된 제정 및 R&D의 강화, 스마트 공장 수준 인증제 정착 및 전문가 육성, 스마트 제조 프로세스 강화를 위한 컨설팅 및 교육 확대, 글로벌 수준의 스마트 공장 구축 등의 노력을 통해 4차 산업혁명 시대의 제조 강국의 국가적 비전 달성을 위해 노력해 갈 것입니다.
South Korea aims to establish specific national standards for smart manufacturing, strengthen R&D efforts further, put smart factory certification system or level diagnosis system in place, nurture experts, and help smart factories to become a world-class level so that the Korea can become another manufacturing powerhouse in 4IR.
오늘 참석하신 아세안 국가 각국도 다양한 노력을 하고 있으실 여러분과 상호 정보와 기술을 교류할 기회가 계속되었으면 합니다.
I can see the ongoing efforts by ASEAN member countries for smart manufacturing, and I will be very happy if we can continue to exchange our information and know-how together.
한 번만 더 강조를 하겠습니다. 스마트한 생각을 하고 있는 사람을 기초로 하고
In conclusion, let me stress once again, the smart manufacturing needs or required some basics. The basic includes human beings or people who have smart ideas.
스마트 프로세스라고 하는 것을 기둥으로 만들어 놓고
And those smart ideas that people have should be supported by smart working process.
그 위에 하드웨어, 소프트웨어와 같은 것들을 연결시킨 스마트 시스템을 얹히는 것입니다.
And then smart system can offer another support to these smart processes and smart ideas as hardware or software.
그것이 저희들이 스마트 제조를 실행하면서 얻은 교훈입니다.
That's what we learned by facilitating this smart manufacturing project at the national level.
이상 발표를 마치겠습니다. 아세안 각국과 여러분에게 행운이 있기를 바랍니다. 감사합니다. Thank you.
This is the end of my presentation. I wish you all health and success. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Oh Kyung-joo, for very interesting and comprehensive presentation. Now we have Ms. Haishin Xie, Deputy General Manager of Higher Cosmoplat IoT Ecological Technology. She will present on the smart manufacturing application in hire and enabling SMEs through IoT ecosystem. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Marco. I would like, can you my slide?
Yes, Mr. Oh Kyun Yoon, can you close your presentation?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Going to share. Okay. So everyone can see it. Okay. Many thanks to Unido.
Sorry, we haven't seen your presentation yet.
Yeah, still.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's my pleasure to give a presentation about our experience in manufacturing.
Sorry, Mr. Haishin, we can see your presentation. Can you check if you are sharing your PowerPoint?
Okay.
Go to the share screen, please.
Okay, how about now?
Now it's coming.
Okay.
Okay, here we are.
Okay, yeah. Again, yeah, many thanks to Unido and ASEAN for inviting me to this seminar. It's my pleasure to share our experience in smart manufacturing in China. First of all, I would like to give a quick brief about Haier and Cosmoplat. So Haier is well known as the largest domestic appliance company with 7 globalized branding and 122 factories around the world. Cosmo was founded in 2017 as an independent business incubated from Haier, focusing on digitalization solutions and services. So now it is ranking the first place on top 10 and top 15 platform in 2019 and 2020 by MIIT China. For the CSP, financing 1 billion RMB with a 15 billion RMB valuation in August 2021. As many officers has mentioned just now, we also see the big opportunities in digital area in China. So this is some examples, some figures you can see from my screen. In 2020, China's digital economy scale expanded from RMB 2.6 trillion yuan in 2005 to RMB 39.2 trillion yuan. So this is a very big opportunities, which is we can see a very steady growth in percentage of GDP, reaching 38.6% in 2020 in many major industrial sectors. So Haier is a good example in industry digitalization. So I would like to share the smart manufacturing practice in one of our plants, which was selected as a lighthouse factory by World Economic Forum in 2018, sorry. The factory is located in Qingdao, China with 360 full-time employees and 97 million USD turnover per year. Customer Plus support the plant launch the digitalization program in order to improve their capabilities for better customer experience and enhance their market competitiveness. After the implementation, there were huge impact both in the financial and operational areas, such as the lead time has been reduced 33%, labor productivity has increased 63%. So now I would like to pick 5 use cases to show how it worked. The first is an online order to make system to support a new mass customization business model. More than 3,000 customers placed their online order under the interactive instructions. And the committed order to deliver lead time reduced from 45 days to 30 days. Above this, there were 2 more digital processes and system had been changed as well. Based on the module product design database, the product BOM, the bill of material in the product lifecycle management system will be converted into the MBOM, the manufacturing BOM, which is hosted in the MES we call the manufacturing execution system. This can help a lot in efficiency and accuracy for the bill of material management. The second case is about performance transparency and e-Anton system. The plant performance is real-time illustrating on the dashboard. The shop floor employee can use the touch screen e-Anton pad to escalate unsolved issues. So the next level process owners who has assigned before will need to fix the problems as soon as possible. This transparency drives the team to work closely for better overall equipment effectiveness by reducing idling and stoppage. Sometimes, the digital system driven is a controversial issue. We also need to think about the motivation. We help them to set up the bonus system to support and improve team morale, which is very necessary. Based on the output, quality, and safety results, ranking will be released at the end of the shift, and the daily bonus will automatically go to the employees' accounts. The supervisors also can do the one-to-one performance review with those who need help at once. As a product maker, quality is crucial. The factory uses quality management system to collect the key issues using many technologies, such as AI technologies, to help the quality check and the corrections, which improve for 21%. Additionally, the factory provides an online testing portal for customers who want to do the remote monitoring. This system has contributed a lot, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. In order to serve the customer properly in the whole product life cycle, we also help them to set up the after-sales service by using IoT technologies, providing the real-time operation monitoring and energy saving services. This is a new software as a service business model that can help customers who use this kind of service package to reduce at least 50% maintenance people. So in summary, from quality performance improving to direct labor productivity increasing and lead times shortening, these cases demonstrating the fourth industrial revolution is now happening and encouraging. So because of these valuable practices, the plan was successfully accepted to the Lighthouse Network by the World Economic Forum, showing the technology and innovation for the future of smart manufacturing. Now, Cosmoplat has not only supported Hire's smart manufacturing journey, but also other companies, such as the Qingdao beer in the beverage industry and the Qirui in the auto industry, etc. The smart manufacturing journey is very inspiring, but it is also very hard. So we would like to hope all our partners to join us to build a win-win industrial internet ecosystem. From Cosmos side, we call this the framework is 1 + X and + N. 1 represent the Cosmoplat, the platform. The X means we have many capabilities like solutions, software or hardware to support our customers. The N means we can serve many customers in many industries. So, okay, this is the end of my presentation. And again, thank you very much for your inviting, and wish you all a fruitful afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Haixin Xie, for very interesting, comprehensive presentation on the technologies available by Hire Cosmoplat. Now we have Mr. Farouk Alinjanov, Industrial Development Officer, Innovation and Digitalization Division at Unido, who will present on Unido's cooperation in promoting smart manufacturing and innovation. So Farouk, please go ahead.
Thank you so much, dear colleagues. Thank you so much for your interest. I was happy to agree to contribute to this beautiful discussion with our Unido experience in promoting smart manufacturing in other regions. Today, I will be speaking in particular on our experience in Southern African subcontinent, and particularly on Namibia. This example is very special because it also involves the smart manufacturing aspects from 2 points of view. We're talking about application of the products of fourth industrial revolution, but also we're talking about smart manufacturing in a way of clustering different technologies, so to produce something new from innovative raw materials as well. So to start my presentation, just to give a little bit background, so we're talking about Namibia and the project supported by the Finnish government to promote sustainable bush processing value chains in Namibia. Just to give the historic context, this is who have been in Namibia some years ago, decades ago, might recall this kind of landscape of Namibia with indigenous species, with the grass growing, and really big basis for promoting the agricultural activities, both cattle and crop farming activities. So Namibia is also very famous with this beef, though some 3 decades ago, the country faced this problem of invasive bush. Yeah, so it's something as a species coming from another region of the big continent, which started to dry up the area to gain the soil from the natural grass and also indigenous species. So we're talking about bush encroachment effect, and this is something which is growing with a pace of 1.5 million hectares in this country. So it was not very popular topic just to cut the trees. So we couldn't find a way how to address this topic in a sustainable way, though we came up with some smart solution. I'm very happy to share those with you. So what we decided to do is to repeatedly come and cut this biomass in order to produce value-added products in this country, which is middle-income country. You know, Namibia is doing well with this type of parameters. At the same time, there are rural areas where the unemployment and poverty is still a big issue. So we came up with the project to with the objective to sustainably address the bush encroachment and to promote new technological sustainable business solutions for development and supply of acacia-based products like cattle feed, charcoal for the chemical use, for the pharmaceutical use, and also for domestic use, and biomass pellets for energy purposes. So talking about the smart technologies, these are the containerized technologies producing both animal feed and charcoal. You know, charcoal production by definition could not be clean, though we are happy to deal with the Finnish producers of revolutionary equipment, which is on the right side, is the containerized production of the charcoal with zero emissions. Instead of emissions, this technology is producing two byproducts. One is distiller which could be used as the chemical fertilizer, and another product is tar, which could be used for the paint production. And this is the mill producing the charcoal, the animal feed. On the background, you can see the same type of big equipment which was available some 10 years ago. Now we're talking about, I don't know, 20 times less voluminous equipment producing the same volume of the animal feed. And yes, so this is the way to produce these beautiful products with a high nutritional cost and with high caloric cost based on very high caloric bush species. So the on the ground test also shown that the animal feed is quite productive in terms of calories. You can see the animal before feeding with the acacia-based animal feed, and after some 3 months of feeding with this animal feed, the same animal is becoming less stressed, gaining some half a centner of weight, and becoming very, very healthy animal. Now, so we also team up with the government, with the private sector, to come up with what we call PPP, a private-public partnership model, where we're doing this project jointly with the private sector and the government. We established the pilot plant, demonstration plant in the north from the capital of Windhoek, in the city called Achivarongo. So this is the plans of how we're doing. So this is how we are basically putting the two technologies together, so we can harvest the same invasive bush, put it to the same hub, and then use small species for the production of animal feed and the hard pieces for the charcoal for pharmaceutical, chemical, and domestic use. So this is, you see how the construction of the hub is ongoing. So it is now constructed fully and we're about to launch it. So doing this quite innovative smart manufacturing project on the ground, we also built up a feasibility study which shown that this project could be, first of all, efficient, business efficient. It could bring benefits to the private sector operators. It can create jobs in the region, but also we proved that this concept could be replicable by the factor of 30 to 50 in Namibia and by the factor of 100 in this subcontinent. So it's a good signal for the investors, for the local or international investors, to replicate the same plant even in Latin America, because apparently in Cuba, in other countries, the same acacia bush is gaining the soil. Now turning to the fourth industrial revolution products and how we apply those. So we have those figures, but we wanted to back up those to also give good signal for the businesses to run this activity. So for that, we needed to assess a little bit the volume of the acacia bush and where better to go and harvest it in most efficient way. So here we appealed to what we call satellite and drone-based imagery recognition technologies and to the artificial intelligence machine learning systems to gain this data. So what we did, it was a subcomponent which we did together with the World Food Program that had very good database of satellite imagery. So we first appealed to the available images from the satellite to allow us to see the RGB scene. So we have one data showing where the bush are. So using only red, green, blue parameters. Now it is going to our own innovation. We introduced another layer of textural analysis on top of the visual interpretation of this data, which already helps us to identify where exactly the acacia bush is, and to a little bit tailor more or like refine this data, which is coming in a big volume, and learning a so-called R programming software to identify the right bush from this big data. We applied another third layer of information by going to the narrowing down the analysis to the individual tree picturing. So therefore we needed to field our technical people to the ground to make an assessment of each individual bush to see what each bush is and what each bush can provide in terms of the raw materials biomass for respectively animal feed and for the charcoal. So the bigger parts are going to the charcoal, which gives us this data of where the bush is and what type of volume it can give. But this is all complex data, yeah? So this is all what we can learn the R programming software, and the machine learning exercise could be running so that the entire picture, the entire big data is processed well, and artificial intelligence gives you some results. But how to put it readable by the businesses, how to simplify this data. So we made an effort to put all this data to a commercial value to the businesses by also creating an application which could be used at even a smartphone or better in the tablet, which has a bigger screen. So this product can actually guide the harvesters where to harvest this product, where it is better you spend less money to harvest the biomass to basically feed to the pilot plant in Namibia. So, and talking about this, these are all tools for us. These are all basically instruments for us to achieve the main goals set by Unido, by the donor community, by the government of Namibia to support better farming productivity, better sustainable use of the land, better use of renewable fodder, and to create jobs in the rural areas, and has expertise on the ground. So these are the main objectives towards which we're going through such beautiful tools as smart manufacturing and application of the products of the fourth industrial revolution. Thank you so much for your attention. I'm ready to answer any of your questions. Also, by ending this presentation, I would like to say that this example was given from another region, though within our team, we're currently launching a project promoting traditional and originative industries in the remote and rural and lagging regions of Indonesia, where we're trying to apply a toolbox of smart manufacturing elements, including remote assessment and support to the enterprises, especially at this COVID time, including the mass quality check which could be using the sensor technologies. We're talking about we're talking about e-commerce business models, because only by applying e-commerce nowadays you can enlarge the outreach of the local producers to the international market, including the tourism market. And we're talking about digital design, promoting digital design, digital pattern making, and grading at light industry production there. So here I would like to stop my presentation. Thank you so much for your attention.
Many thanks, Farouk, for a very detailed and interesting presentation on the project in Namibia. So now let's move to the question and answers. I remind all the participants to post questions in the Q&A box. There is a question also on the materials, so let us consult with the speakers if we can share the different presentations, so we will do this later. Yeah? But I have a first question. Let's go in the same order of the panelists. For Butitu Kuyem, in your opinion, what role do standards play in the promotion of smart manufacturing among the ASEAN region?
Yeah, thank you, Marco. Is very interesting question in terms of the role of the standard on smart manufacturing. And in general, the role for the standards is will help the enterprises and people and everyone to do the right thing from the very beginning. That is a very important role. Furthermore, as I share in the presentation, that is also the common language between the machine and the human beings. And so with the standards, and so machine and the human being can understand each other. And also is facilitate the communication between the stakeholders. And so that's why the role, that's why in ASEAN, there's a very first study group under ACCSQ working group 1 on standards, focusing on the standards on smart manufacturing, including 4IR. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. The next question is in the chat for Mr. Oh Kyun Jung. I think this is related with the standards of Korean companies are applying inside and outside Korea. So.
답변 드리겠습니다. KSX 9001은 한국 기업에게는 만여 기업 이상 진행을 했습니다.
Thank you for the question. About 10,000 Korean companies are now adopting KSX 9001.
9101은 올해 9월 달에 제정되었기에 이제부터 시작입니다.
And 9101 was recently developed in September, and it was released in September. So we will see.
한국 외에 적용한 사례는 아직은 없습니다.
And so far, there has no overseas companies which adopted these Korean standards yet.
이것으로 답변이 되겠습니다.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Oh Kyun Jung. I have one additional question. If from Korea you are working with neighbor ASEAN countries cooperating to increase or to implement smart manufacturing.
We are talking with some of the Asian countries to facilitate smart manufacturing cooperation between Korea and ASEAN member countries, and the Secretariat is at the core of the dialogue or conversation between Korea and ASEAN.
Thank you very much. So now for Mr. Haishin Hie, So what are the key steps SMEs should be taking immediately to start the transition to a smart manufacturing ecosystem? How Hire can help on that? This is mute.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for your question. Yeah. In our company, actually, we start from like a assessment. Firstly, we will start an assessment to see whether from the organization, process, or IT systems readiness. So after this assessment, we know what kind of solution will be fit and how to move on. So I think this is very important. Another thing I want to emphasize is about how to say the mindset. I think not everyone at the very beginning want to accept this kind of smart manufacturing concept easily, especially for those plant owners. What they are focusing is more like on the value, the cost down, and maybe the revenue. So at the very beginning, we need to work very closely to get everyone on the same page. It's a digital journey, not an easy one, but very important for the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So now a question for Farrud Limanjot. How can organizations as Unido can accelerate efforts to promote smart manufacturing in the ASEAN region?
Thank you so much for this question. I think I will also support a little bit the answer of Ms. Haikin-Shi that we need to start with also talking to the private sector and to explain to the government, to explain that the fourth industrial revolution is a new technology. There are some gains, but at the same time, it's not something to be afraid of. We were talking about many times today about the need to assess the readiness of the countries to apply the tools of the fourth industrial revolution. We were doing this kind of work, including in the region of Philippines, in other countries. As we speak, we're finalizing another fourth industrial revolution readiness analysis in Europe. And we see that a lot of recipients, a lot of companies are answering that to the question, answering why they're not applying the tools of the fourth industrial revolution, why they see the readiness, they see interest to, for instance, to apply artificial intelligence, IoTs, blockchain, et cetera, et cetera. And to the question why they're not applying those, the answer that the finance is a big difficulty. There are another fears. So I wanted to, maybe it's nice to start with promoting these tools as rather low-hanging fruits. They're not complex. Sometimes they're not costing much. Sometimes their application could be as easy as applying, or let's say uploading one software to the smart devices of all the workers in all the managers in the institution. So sometimes we have to show the low-hanging fruits to convince, to encourage the business operators to apply those tools, and also maybe to handhold them, to show the good examples how to do that, so that the precedence is set, and the more they go, the more complex products of fourth industrial revolution that they can appeal to. We can also show to the business community our own experience, like we showed in Namibia, in other countries, and to lead this the businesses along this indeed beautiful, interesting journey, and what is also most important, to show to them the business gains, what change it can bring, where is the transformation, how quicker, how cheaper the processes will go, how far the outreach of the markets could be, etc. Thank you.
Thank you, Farouk. So, Michie, there is a question in the chat for you on what are the benefits for factories to adopt smart manufacturing, and is this will result in loss of employment for workers?
So let me clarify the question. It's about what's the value for smart manufacturing. Can I see the question in the chat box? Oh, yeah. The benefit. Yeah, I think as our experience, we got quite a lot of benefits from adopting the smart manufacturing, like the productivity, like the quality improvement, and also we can enhance our customer service through the system, through this kind of interaction platform. So which is very key for our transformation. And also the second question, I don't think that's the employment of workers, the loss of employment for workers. Actually, we move those kind of workers, we train them to operate like some machines, or they can do some programs, or we can help them to develop the potentials. What we are doing now is doing this kind of job. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So we have time for very quick set of questions. Just let me go ahead for Mrs. Butit Kuyem on the priorities of ACCSQ in advancing the roadmap and action plan implementation on standardization for smart manufacturing. There is also a question in the chat that maybe you can answer on potential cooperation to Myanmar and some other countries in the Asian region.
Yes, thank you very much for the question. And it is ACCSQ is a leading sector body in ASEAN in terms of the standards and conformance. And we deal with the standards and conformance, and we look forward to the harmonization of the standards. Each harmonize the national standards in ASEAN member state with the international standards. And so the priority for implementing the roadmap and action plan that is based on the 5 recommendations, the key recommendation that have been mentioned in the roadmap. And we collaborate with the sectoral bodies of ASEAN, and we also working with the partners in order to implement many activities. And for the core activity of ACCSQ is focusing on the standards, standardization, together with other international organizations like ISO and IEC. ISO and IEC collaborate closely on the standardization topics for in IT for manufacturing system, including sensor, device, network, and user interface, and many other topics and other areas. So it is a very important work of ACCSQ to facilitate all these things happen based on the roadmap recommendations.
Thank you very much. So now a question for Mr. Oh Kyun-jung on the Korean standards. So from your point of view, what are the challenges of identifying the areas for standardization in Asian region?
아세안의 예는 잘 모르겠고 한국의 예로 설명을 드리겠습니다.
Maybe I can talk about the cases in Korea and our challenges in Korea.
제가 아세안에 적용한 경험이 없어서
Because I am not that experienced in working with ASEAN countries.
스마트 제조를 구축하는데 여러 가지 어려움이 있겠지만 그중에 가장 어려운 것은 역시 그 기업의 CEO의 마인드 부분입니다.
There are various types of challenge in making one factory smarter, of course. But what is more important, what's the most important here is the leadership of a CEO.
경영자가 스마트 제조에 대한 필요성, 구축에 대한 필요성을 얼마나 인식하고 또한 도입하고 구축하려고 하는 의지가 일단 제일 중요한 것 같습니다.
If the CEO understands why smart manufacturing is important and is required, and if he has a strong willingness, strong will to adopt this smarter technology or manufacturing, that will help, of course.
그 다음은 근무자들에 대한 스마트 제조에 대한 어떤 그 적용에 대한 어떤 도입에 대한 의지라 그럴까요? 그러니까 종업원들의 수용 의지가 일단 중요하다고 봅니다.
So what is the most important is the top leadership, and secondly, the employees' attitude toward this smart manufacturing or smart technology.
자, 그런 것들을 교육과 훈련을 통해서 먼저 컨센서스를 일치시키는 것이 일단 중요합니다.
So various in-house training and workshop will help all employees to be on the same page. So having a consensus within a company to work on or to move on to smart manufacturing or smart factory, that is the most important thing.
그 다음은 각기 그 기업의 특성에 맞게끔 전략을 수립하고 차근차근 진행해 나가야 하는데.
So if everyone has the same understanding on this smart factory or smart manufacturing project, and then the company can come up with its own strategy and target.
이제 거기서 표준이라고 하는 것이 중요하다라는 걸 감지하게 됐습니다.
And in that stage, the focus should be on the standards.
앞서 말씀드렸지만 한국은 스마트 제조를 국가 차원에서 지원하고 도입하고 보급하는 것을 적극적으로 리딩해 가고 있습니다.
And as I explained before, smart manufacturing is a government-led project here in Korea.
그렇기 때문에 동일한 시스템, 그러니까 표준화된 프로세스와 표준화된 시스템을 구축해서 보급하는 것이 훨씬 경쟁력이 있다고 판단했습니다.
Because the Korean government is leading all the efforts in the smart manufacturing. If we develop one standard process or one standard system, and if we can distribute this unique or this uniform process and system to various factories, that will be very cost efficient.
아마 올해로 그와 같은 표준화 작업들은 거의 완성이 됐습니다.
And currently the government is working on this standardization and it is coming to the end.
이제는 대대적으로 확산할 예정입니다.
And after the completion or the announcement of those standards, then it's time to disseminate them.
아세안 국가들의 스마트 제조의 성공적 구축도 그와 같은 표준들이 필요할 거라고 생각합니다.
For Asian member countries to move on to smart manufacturing successfully, I believe those standardization efforts will be necessary.
다양한 요소의 표준화가 필요할 거라고 생각합니다.
And standardization of various factors and various elements are crucial.
Thank you.
That's the end of my answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So now, Ms. Haishin Xie, in your experience, higher Cosmoplat implementing digital transformation with companies, what are the main key success factors when you work with companies?
Okay. I think the key success. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So the key reason for the success is I agree with Mr. Oh Kyung-jung. The mindset of the CEO is and owner of the company is very important. Because they can drive the whole company to move on such a digital journey. So this is the first thing I want to say. And the second is that we need to use some new technologies, such as many experts has mentioned before, like the blockchain, IoT, and 5G, something like this, because through these new technologies, we will have a cheaper and more effective way to implement our digital transformation. These are the two key things I want to emphasize. And the third one is that the talents. I don't know in the Asian country, but in China, we feel that the talents with IT knowledge and also the operational experience, the combination of this kind of knowledge is very important for such a transformation. So I want to add this one to one of the reasons.
Thank you very much. Now the last question for Farouk Al-Majianot is on what services can Unido provide to developing countries on digital transformation and smart manufacturing?
Thank you so much. I would partially repeat myself from my previous answer. We see few ways of supporting the countries on application of the products of fourth industrial revolution. We can do it at the policy level, at the institutional level, and also piloting at enterprise level. So at the policy level, we can support with either development or implementation of the national strategy for artificial intelligence, for the blockchain application, for promoting Industry 4.0 at large. Within this work, of course, we can help with assessment of the country for its readiness to the application of fourth industrial revolution products. It could be divided by different sectors because one sector could be already ready to apply those, whilst for more basic sectors, it could be rather different paces we see for the different sectors to absorb the fruits of the fourth industrial revolution. At the institutional level, we can support the industry support institutions, the laboratories, the quality assessment institutions, in basically providing them tools how to do it, how to implement the fruits of the fourth industrial revolution at the private sector level, at the real sector level. And together with those institutions, we can not only train them, we can also accompany them or coach their experts in application, in introduction of these tools at the real sector level. So this is what we call a micro level interventions, where together with the national expertise, we are implementing artificial intelligence, machine learning tools, blockchains, digital design, e-commerce tools, all other products of fourth industrial revolution at the real sector, where the real job is being created, where sustainable job is being created, where the value added is being generated, and where hence the socioeconomic gains are being produced for the interests of the countries. Thank you.
Thank you, Farouk. So now we reach the end of this event. So let me thank all the panelists and convey also the appreciation from our managing director, Bernardo Calzadilla Sarmiento. We will be in touch with the panelists for collaboration and exchanges in the future. And thank you to all the participants for very active questions and for being with us during this event. So thank you very much, and it was a pleasure.
Thank you, Marco. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.